This is our last session. We had 4 sessions, right? And this is our bonus session where I'd really like to take the time to answer questions. And I am going to answer the first 2 questions that was submitted in the group, then every question that comes here in the Zoom chat. And then if I have time, I will go through the questions that are on my iPad that my superhero assistant was gathering and copying and pasting the questions that so many people asked when they joined quantum visioning. So welcome to this tactical, grounded, and galactic session. And just to remind everyone, in the beginning of this session, that this next week will be the last week to consider joining a whole year of support that I lovingly call the Visionary Mastermind. And it's really for you if you feel deep in your soul that it's time for you to expand your entrepreneurial wings and do it in alignment with your soul calling. So everybody who's joining my mastermind is here to serve their deepest soul calling. And service is at the center of their businesses, of their leadership, and they desire to be supported by the community and by the mentor that they aligned with. So if you desire new strategy, new ways of implementing, new way of leading, new way of creating, and a new way of receiving aligned opportunities, this is a community for you. And you can learn more by sending me a private message, cyber stalking me online, just to read through the last 2 weeks of my posts that are on my Facebook page. And if it's for you, you will feel it as a big yes in your heart chakra. And then I just encourage you to take the next step, which is to have a conversation with me and trust what happens next. So, yes, beloveds, let's go straight into questions. And I also wanted to plant a seed around leadership conversation and a new paradigm of leadership that I see that is happening or being unveiled. Oh, Moore's Zoom community is growing. Hello, everyone. The Zoom community is growing. Just know that you can submit your questions straight here in the chat box, and I will be happy to answer them to offer you a reflection or perspective. Before I go into the question, I'd like to just share with you some deep insights about leadership that I see that's being unveiled, and the leadership that is spirit-centered, wholeness-centered, right? It's this way of living and way of creating that is, first of all, to be true to yourself. I just wrote a post about it yesterday, right? Leadership is not about follow me, do everything like I do, create like me. This is an impossible task because every single one of us has a unique blueprint, a unique style, a unique set of talents, and a unique set of challenges, right? And in our indigenous traditions, they call it, Native people call it, each one of us has a unique original medicine. And it's when we compare ourselves, right? We show the distrust that we have of our original medicine. So I take a stand whenever I bring a conversation about leadership is encouraging more people to unlock their own style of leadership, right? There are so many different styles, but there is a core principles is leading both from your humanity and from your cosmic self, from your quantum self, right? And it's a conversation about what do we say yes to, what do we say no to, how deep is our self-care, how deep is our ability to nourish ourselves, right? And ultimately, leadership is a reflection of our consciousness. Leadership is a reflection of how connected we feel inside. So if we are connected, if we are attuned, if we are aligned, that energy of connection is going to spread into everything we post, publish, create, every conversation with our team, every conversation with our client will be impacted through that inner alignment. So to me, embodied leadership is embodied alignment. And that is an ongoing process. We will never arrive. But what a beautiful trajectory to be on, to see yourself, that your contribution to your leadership path is to cultivate your alignment, being true to yourself, right? And then nourishing yourself. Thank you, Leela. Here we go. We have a question, but I'd like to start with the first two questions that have been submitted yesterday. First question was from Valida. She says, Katerina, how can I apply your teachings in a corporate environment? How can I manifest the networking opportunity in the company, that promotion or elevate my work and reputation and professional brand? This is so beautiful because the principles that I was inspired to bring during this quantum visioning week, they are universal, right? Universal. Your energy is what people respond to. Your attitude is what people notice. Your willingness to go that extra mile will never be unnoticeable. So if you are in a corporate environment, it is crucial, the energy that you bring to the room, because I promise you, 80% of people in your corporate environment don't even have awareness of cultivating their energy, cultivating their presence, cultivating their consciousness. So if you are placed strategically by spirit in a corporate environment, the way you elevate your reputation and your aligned opportunities is just bring your full self to every moment. Bring your radiance, bring your presence, right? And then be visible and expressive with ideas that you may be downloading and channeling, right? Lead courageously in your corporate environment. You can lead, right? By being visible with your ideas, with wanting to be of service, volunteering. All of that goes very, very noticeable for good employers. You know, this is how I choose who to hire in my business, right? How loyal a person is, how responsive they are. Do they really, really go that extra mile, or they're just doing the bare minimum, right? Just clock in and clock off. So that's what I would encourage you to do, is your energy, your frequency, your seeing yourself as a quantum self, visualizations, seeing the change in the corporate world that you'd like to make. That's what I would address. I hope this serves you. Sarah is asking, my question, working with clients and groups online versus in person, delivering the magic and energetics of your physical presence and essence through the digital lens, your experience and insights. Sarah, thank you so much for this question. I feel it's a whole next level of influence where you make it your aim to develop such intimacy with camera, such intimacy with Zoom, that people may have difficulty to tell the difference. Year 2020, I've launched my mastermind, and I was promoting it, right? And then I was delivering it in 2021 or 2020. Time is very interesting for me sometimes. But right when we couldn't meet in person, right? Usually my mastermind has at least 2 live events. This was unavailable. So I made a choice to leap and to announce 100% virtual program for an entire year. And we were meeting on Zoom a lot, 3 times a month, right? And it was an incredible training for me as a facilitator to continue to experiment, right? Taking people through a set of visualization or pairing people with each other or giving them different journaling exercises. So you can create a highly interactive experience with people online. It is truly magnificent what you can create. What I really enjoy cultivating is a hybrid approach, meaning I like to, with the same amount that I deliver online, I aim to deliver offline every year, right? So really, maybe because I have a very low tolerance for sameness, very low tolerance for boredom. So I thrive on variety and I require a lot of that. And I love the hybrid approach. So for example, one of my favorite ways to teach is actually to teach, let's say it's a 6-week online program that has a live event at the end, or you can flip it, right? So hybrid is really beautiful. But when it comes to online, is literally you spending a lot of time every time you have with the camera. So you could get the kinks out. You know, we all are quite awkward in the beginning on camera. You know, it doesn't come naturally without practice. So I always talk about it. It's reps, it's reps, it's reps. So, you know, when you know your style and whether it lands or connects with people, and also finding the platform. Some people thrive on YouTube, some people thrive on Instagram, some people thrive on TikTok, right? It's very difficult to thrive on all of them right away. I encourage people to just make your presence known and noticeable one platform at a time, right? And then you can branch out and expand. But it's all about the camera. It's all about you finding a way to tell relatable parts of your life experience in connection to your message. And then really seeing your online following, not really as a following, but your tribe. Like right from the beginning, if you can transmit and really feel that you care deeply for people who respond to your messages or to respond to whatever you publish online, then you can start seeing them as literally people that with whom you have a relationship. Yes, it's a virtual relationship. And a lot of them you may never meet online, but you might. You know, and my favorite things whenever I go to the conferences, I was just at Coaching Summit with Brennan Bouchard, and I've met a student of mine who enrolled in my business courses, and he's been studying online, self-study with me, and then to meet him in person was super cool, right? And then when people meet me in person, they always say, "You are so much taller than I thought you were." Like, yes, I'm 5'9", plus I love tall boots, and I look like an Amazon woman, like this giant. So it is very incredible, you know, when you embrace online is not going anywhere. So we all will be invited to develop a new level of skill, right? How do you maintain people's interest? And it's all about the energy that you bring to the group, right? It's all about the energy. So my aim always, every time I show up online, my aim is I am going to elevate people's energy. Everything I publish, can I elevate their vision? Can I elevate their energy? Can I elevate their belief in themselves that it's possible for them? I hope this helps. Yay. Leela, dear Katerina, I would like to ask, how would you start? I've been on a hideaway for the past years. I've been revealed my big life purpose these past years, but just taking baby steps of receiving the guidance. I have not been revealed the curriculum yet for my online presence. Thank you for your answer and beautiful presence. You're welcome, dear. How would you start? I would start by sharing what inspires you. Share what you are passionate about. Share what makes your heart sing a deeper song, right? Really begin by just coming out of that cocoon and sharing with the world. What do you love? What inspires you? Your favorite books, your favorite habits that nourish you, right? This is the power of social media. It's we share our inner discoveries with the world. And simply that, you know, there's so much you can share. And then when you feel it's time, you can share your personal journey, right? So people, I really like those posts where I say, it's time to reintroduce myself. Some of you have seen those posts, right? But every 60 to 90 days, I make it, you know, my importance to just publish a post, because there are so many new people are coming in on each platform and some people leaving, right? It's a natural organic flow with your community, with your audience. So I really like to say, allow me to introduce myself. Hi, my name is Katerina, blah, 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 blah. And I like to share about major milestones on my path, my deep my deep worldview, or the way I see the world, what I believe, what I take a stand for, and what exactly I do in the world. It's a beautiful post, and people really, really resonate with that. And then you can bring variety to it and perspective. Yeah. Okay, one more. Hi, Linda. Good to see you. I'm a new listener. I have realized I have a very deep witch wound. I'm scared to be seen and heard, but I know deep inside that I have a lot of power. Is there anything you can say about this? Hi, Linda. Thank you so much for submitting this question. I actually have a whole video on my YouTube about the witch wound. I am very, very positively sure that one of my recent lifetimes, I have been a witch, and that lifetime has not ended well or easy, has not ended easy or without trauma for me. So I really understand from the core of my soul the weight that the witch wound can have. You know, I remember I've discovered past life regression, Linda. It was, you know, when we go through Kundalini awakening and through awakening our subtle bodies, our energy bodies, and really coming into coherence with our truth, it is not an uncommon experience to start recollecting your parallel lifetimes, right? So right about that time, I began to be drawn to past life regression. And I was working with a healer. You're so welcome, Leela. We're so welcome. I was working with, it was an elder healer, and she said, Katerina, this is the gift from your past life that you can really do past life regressions. So just pick it up as a remembrance, right? And practice it. So I took her advice and I began to practice my own regression. So I would take myself into trance, and I would travel astrally to the most closest or most astrally charged lifetimes to see what's going on. Where am I losing my power? Where's the wound is not healed? And wow, Linda, the lifetime that I traveled to was immediately dropped me into sort of a medieval times. And all I saw myself dressed in a very simple clothes, kind of like a villager clothes, but I was at the very center of the public square, and my left hand was on, you know, like on a circular cemental thing, and all the villager people were surrounded me, and basically I was publicly punished, and my left hand was chopped off. wow, what a scary timeline to connect, right? But what was so beautiful, I was able to hover above the scene, right? Before I pass to regress myself, I always give a command to my body that we are only witnessing, we are not re-experiencing it. But it was incredibly powerful to see it because, I reminded my body and my inner child that we live in a very radically different lifetime right now. And one of my key slogans that I keep sharing, that for most of light workers, not just for me, but for majority of light workers, this is the most sovereign lifetime we have ever lived. So, the power of that sovereignty feels so enchanting and a bit unsettling, because so many of us are still in the process of just learning to be in alignment with the whole idea of living powerful lives, right? It's a process of redefining what power is and what are we willing to do with that. So I would say, Linda, I don't know if you've been doing some deep healing work there, because there are so many powerful healers offering these experiences: past life regression, shamanic healing, right? Soul retrieval. Every single time you heal that wound, the bigger the wound, the bigger the wisdom from that lifetime, right? So to be a witch at particular lifetime, what a powerful genetic memory, right? It's to be a healer, it's to be a visionary, it's to be a transformer, it's to be an oracle for your community. This is the power of being a wizard or a witch, right? It's an incredible ability to be an instrument for the divine. So I feel like because you're asking this question, it is a time for a deeper embrace of that wound, right? Embrace. And then the mantra that I will offer you, or like an affirmation, say to yourself again and again, this is the most sovereign life I've ever seen or I've ever lived, right? And see how it resonates deeply in your heart. Gonna check the group. So cool. Yeah, many people are resonating with the witch wound. Yes, but and it's so powerful is the power of healing the wounds, right? Healing the wounds, that the wound has all the components to become the source of our deepest wisdom. It's like healing, I had such a wound with criticism in the past. I was absolutely deeply afraid of public criticism, so sooner or later my dharma brought that fear straight into my face, because every fear that we don't resolve, we will manifest. So I take approach of just run towards your fears. If you are afraid of being visible, on the other side of that, there is a desire to be visible. And that desire is so deep, it looks like fear. Fear masks desire. If we go more grounded in this conversation about witch wound, fear masks desire. So whatever you're afraid of is a pointer. That's where your next liberation lays. That's where your sacred curriculum is. Right? Fear masks desire. I learned that from Rich Litvin. an incredible mentor and a teacher who wrote The Prosperous Coach. I recommend everybody to read and work with that curriculum. But he is the one who taught me fear masks desire. Right? Fear masks desire. So we got to run to it. Otherwise, if we don't meet our fears, they will come our reality. So let's meet our fears. And the way you meet your fear is by allowing it to teach you, right? Allowing you to teach you. I'm a big fan of letting your mind go into the worst case scenario. If you've never done that process, where I did it in the very beginning of my entrepreneurial journey, the day where I said, enough waiting, I'm going to start and follow my own entrepreneurial journey. There was an assignment from one of the teachers that I worked at that time, and he said, imagine your worst case scenario. Give your mind radical permission to go there. What is it for you? Is it that you're going to be a bag lady pushing the cart on the streets because you invested every single dollar you had into coaching and mentoring, but your business never took off? He's like, what's your worst case scenario? Instead of just pretending it's not there, you want to go there, right? Just experience it. It just was so great. So I'm a big believer actually running towards your fear and realizing that the worst case scenario, whether if you choose to be visible, people laugh at you, or you'll be psychically attacked, or people will talk crap about you behind your back, you cannot control any of that. It may happen, it can happen, it will happen. So what? Right? So what? Do you really want to spend another lifetime avoiding your deepest calling simply because of fear? I don't think so. All right. More questions, darlings? Let me know. Somebody already gave me an angry face on Facebook. Hey, angry face. I'm just totally laughing. You know, I'm at peace with angry faces. That's another perspective that I'd like to offer you. It's really nice to get hearts, you know, and likes on your posts. But angry faces come with social media as well. So what? So what? It's not the end of the world, right? I have a feeling somebody just pressed the wrong button. Fear masks desire. That's right. All right, beloveds, do you have any other questions or reflections? Yeah, the witch wound. More hearts for you. Thank you. Thank you, Leela. So good. But you know, it's whenever I'm a big believer that online global connectivity that we have right now is such a unique gift. You know, when I contemplate on Wayne Dyer, who is one of my inspiring role models, who was a prolific writer and speaker and a teacher, the way he became such an incredible speaker is he gave literally hundreds of free talks. And I don't remember, I think it was in his community. He would just give free talks and free lectures on all topic of spirituality, because he had a vision of becoming a spiritual teacher on a like world-class level, right? So having a vision is one step. Choosing to put months and years into practice to develop a version of yourself that is a natural result of the vision that you can see, That's a conversation that I like to have, right? We all come in with pre-packaged talents and genius, but it's kind of like a diamond in the rough. It's covered up with lots of coil. So it's us digging it from within and offering our expression into the world is the way we polish our talent. And I wonder where Wayne Dyer would be if his very first book, The Power of Intention, would be published during the time of the internet. He became a world sensation, like immediately. But he lived in a time where internet was not available. And he decided to take the books that he had published and seek promotional opportunities. And the way he did it, he would go from radio station to radio station, 6 p.m. each evening. He would do live Q&A with listeners. People would call in, ask him a question, he would answer it. And then at the end of each segment, he would highlight his book. To me, that is dedication. That is being willing, not only see, not only write, not only create, but become a devoted promoter of your work. And that's where I deeply believe we can receive, the expansion that we call in, where we become not only creators, not only people who see a vision, but those people who become passionate champions of our vision, right? And like tireless champions, because that vision has chosen you, right? Okay, I'm gonna move towards my questions over here. I think I saw a really cool question here. Okay, the question is, oh, thanks, David. Says, you answered my question right about what to submit. Wonderful channeling. Thank you, David. I appreciate that. Yes, this is a question that was submitted. How do you keep business from taking over your life? How do you keep business from taking over your life? That's an epic question, right? And here's my transparent, truthful answer, my dear ones. I am work in progress. Because my business is an expression of my deepest passion, sometimes I can become overly engaged in the creative rhythms. Nothing else exists but this creative vision that I'm nurturing. So I create boundaries, right? My inner child has a voice that I listen to. My woman self has a voice, right? It's not just a leader self or a businesswoman or a teacher. Like those archetypes are valid, but there's this inner child, there is also a human self, and there is a woman self, right? So I make sure that all these aspects of myself are nourished, and I actually have a ton of spaciousness that I fiercely protect. I don't know if you know this, but I am not an extrovert. I'm actually an introvert. It doesn't mean that I am shy. If you meet me in person, I'm very engaging and available for connection. Introvert part means I replenish in solitude, and I also channel so many ascended masters, spiritual beings. And for me to hear them, I require a ton of solitude. So in my weekly schedule, I cultivate exquisite spaciousness. That is why I set up my business in a way that it has diverse channels of revenue. I don't receive my revenue from only one channel. I don't think it's sustainable. I set it up, and every year I make my diverse channels stronger and stronger, so I can cultivate spaciousness that is required for me to be a nourished channel. That's how I, and then I also mentor with, I invest in mentorship. It's non-negotiable for me. At any point, I work with 2 people who are ongoing source of reflection for me, right? And not only on the business level, but truly on inner alignment. And when an elder that I worked with asked me one day, I was telling about all these goals and projects, and she's listening and listening and listening, and she says, Katerina, are you going too fast? When the elder asks you that question, it's like a pin drop. Holy, wow, I am going too fast. So I seek wisdom and support from those who can see me outside of me, right? From the external, to help me see when I'm going too fast, when I'm losing my balance, when I'm overly invested in a particular vision. So I don't just rely on my own objectivity. Yeah, so spaciousness, nourishing all sides of yourself, have some powerful mentorship support of a guide in your life who can give you objective truth. And that is how you prevent from business taking over your life. Yeah. Second question, how do you manifest your abundance? I make consistent offers. I have a very rapid process of taking inspiration from the idea plane and cloaking into a product. So I shrink the gap, and to say something to be really precise here, I don't cloak every idea that comes my way. I don't turn every idea into product. There's just no possibility to do that. There's so many of them come my way. But I cultivate an inspiration-filled life, right? And ideas come, right? And then the ones that hold the highest level of excitement, what I do, I follow 4 stages of creative process that I teach. There's a podcast on that topic available for free. But basically, envision, create, promote, deliver. My abundance is a direct result of my ability to turn creative idea and turn it into a service or a product or an offering. And I love the process. I just love the process. All of my private clients, I call in telepathically. And I set an intention to Divine Mother when I feel there's a new private client in the field. Then I begin to hold a prayer for that person to recognize that I am holding the space. I'm holding the space for this being. But every single high-profile client has found me seemingly out of blue, and I know that they've been guided by spirit, right? I also manifest my abundance by elevating my entrepreneurial skills and mastering my ability to bring multiple projects at once. I get very bored if I work on only one project. I'm not designed to work on one project. I thrive on variety. So every year I expand my capacity, what's possible to create. So abundance is happening as an inner alignment, right? And as an outer action taking. So one of the things that, I'm leading a group right now called Codify Your Wisdom. And it's my fellow teachers and coaches and healers. They are making a courageous choice to package their wisdom into a specific framework that they can sell as a course, as a program, as a curriculum. And the one key idea that I keep bringing through entire program is you gotta elevate your ability and willingness to make consistent, clear, and compelling offers. So becoming the most committed salesperson of your own magic. And I don't wait to be discoverable. I feel a lot of people who struggle with abundance, they wait very passively to be discoverable. And it's just not a very sovereign way to live. A sovereign light worker is choosing to be visible from generosity and service, but also a sovereign light worker understands it's his or her job to be discoverable, right? What's the point of our light if it's covered up? There is no point. So if we're here to be the embodiment of light, our number one job is to master a very simple 3D ways we become discoverable. And in our age, it's social media, blogging, speaking in person, leading free workshops, gathering circles, right? CEO, there are so many ways that we can become discoverable. But that's how I manifest my abundance, is by turning my creativity into resources. Okay, one more. This is a good one. How do you know when something, an idea, a project, or a goal is right for you versus when you are forcing it or just moving in a direction that seems or feels right? This is a good question. The immediate answer that I feel in my heart, it's a question of patience versus impatience. When the idea or vision comes to you, it literally takes over your entire being, right? It's not a maybe, it's a full, I must birth this, right? And if you don't have that, if you are listening to the intellect, you should launch this because you launched it 2 years ago and people know you for this, it's probably going to be profitable, right? So rationalizing versus there's a wild call of my soul to birth something into being. So the question is, are you willing to cultivate patience? If you don't have clarity, it's simply a sign not to move forward. It means a sign, sit in silence and pray for clarity, right? And when you have that clarity, that's the time to move forward. So it's a conversation between your heart and your intellect, right? I will never forget when Ascended Masters, who my channel, I have a whole course, Ascended Masters course that I taught in 2018. But 2018, when the message started coming to me from Ascended Masters, Katerina, from now on, everything you birth must be straight from your heart. You can't create from your mind any longer. And how powerful that is to have a distinction. Are you creating something from your intellect, right? It's usually just kind of repeating old knowledge that doesn't even belong to you. Or are you creating something from your heart essence that is wild and difficult to control? You can only surrender to the channeling of your heart, right? So it was a powerful experience, beloveds, because I had to, I got to drop intellectual creations and was willing to learn a new way of creating as an expression of my deepest heart essence. Big difference. Linda says, how were you first clear about what your vision and work is in the world? Linda, this is a great question. I sit with shamanic plants. I'm very open about, I follow shamanic path. For the last almost 14 years, I apprentice with deep visionary plants. And some of my deepest revelations come through these shamanic journeys, right? I also travel to different places of power. Like in April, I'm taking a group to Peru with me. There is a reason behind I choose to invest my energy to bring that experience forward. is because sometimes it's really challenging to tap into your true vision sitting on your couch in your house. When we dare to radically change our environment, to step into a different land, we stimulate the brain to fire in a new ways, to have new connections, and our visionary self can breathe, can catch some new inspiration. So I would say any kind of process that takes you into trance, if you don't work with shamanic visionary plants, you can achieve a similar state through self-hypnosis or through drumming or through dancing, right? Anything that takes you out of the body into the trance, because you want to transcend the mind, you want to transcend intellect to receive the vision from your soul. Then the second is considering if you have that opportunity to travel to any of the power places, such as any place that calls you. You know, for me, it's Peru, India. I loved Egypt, and I felt that Egypt, the state that Egypt is in, was really challenging for me to be in energetically. So I prefer Peru, India, Bali has a unique medicine, Hawaii, all of these incredible places, sacred lakes, sacred mountains, nature. The simplest way to say it, nature. Go into silence for a couple of days and be in nature, you and a journal. And asking yourself this powerful question: what is my greatest contribution to the world right now? What is the work that I was born to do? And if you ask yourself that question, you will find your answer. I promise you. Question: what is your key advice in making the shift from commercial earning, like corporate earning, to earning well with one's soul's work? This is a good question. I would say personal brand. If you don't have a personal brand, meaning an established online presence, this is your number one assignment, right? To establish yourself online, because yes, you can grow a beautiful business. For example, if you are a coach, right? I know coaches who run wonderful six-figure businesses completely referral only. And there comes a time where they're going to reach the cap, where they reach the ceiling of that, right? And this is where the power of your personal brand that takes time to build. Personal brand is not a bunch of quotes that you post online. I mean, some people build their audiences like that. Personal brand is an online presence, online reputation, and also a consistent delivery of real value, giving something that you could easily charge for. Because you know the power of the goodwill, you know, but the power of giving, right? Know a power of contribution. It actually guides you. This is a principle that I have here: growth and contribution. If that is your core value, then building a personal brand based on true growth and contribution becomes a wonderful adventure for you. Remember, I shared this on a second session, elevating your online presence, that the very first thing that people will do when they consider working with you, whether as a coach or healer or teacher or mentor or business consultant, they're going to Google you. I promise you. And if they don't Google you, I don't know, they will Google you eventually. People want to know, What have you published? What have you released? What have you created, right? And a strong online brand makes you stand out and gives your potential client a more easier decision-making process, right? Because like, oh, look, because whoever I choose to hire as my personal advisors, I want to admire them and respect them and be inspired by them. So this is why it's so important to build your personal brand. Highly recommend to start ASAP and resist the temptation of sporadic disappearance from online, right? Find the healthy relationship with technology. But what I see that is very damaging for people's brands is they abandon their online communities, whether because they get tired or exhausted, and all of those reasons can be deeply valid. I encourage, instead of abandoning your community, hire a therapist, hire a healer that can help you navigate your own inner dips, right? But choose to become consistent to the garden that is your online community. It's like a garden, right? So I recently planted roses, and every day I wake up and I go check on the soil, right? Because roses, when you just plant them, they require consistent watering and consistent attention. I see your personal brand and your relationship with your community is like a gardener with the garden. Whatever you're going to put into your garden is what you're going to receive, right? So that's what I would encourage everyone to be consistent and embrace this unique opportunity to share your message with the world. Probably the last one that I'll take, and if you have question here, Zoom community, I'm here with you. Okay, the question is, how can I overcome what's blocking me? The very first step is to identify that block and put it on paper. Whatever you are working to transform within yourself, if you can create a little bit of a distance between what's troubling you and what are you desiring to experience, so take the troubling thought, whatever you think you have a block with money, a block with expression, a block with seeing yourself as lovable, whatever the story is, you take it, you put it on paper, and then you can see it on paper and you begin to question that thought. And the first question that I would offer you is, what are you getting out of holding on to a belief system that you are blocked? Your subconscious mind is receiving more benefit from staying stuck than moving forward. Your job is to find a conflicting belief in your subconscious mind that prevents you from moving forward. That's how I would do it. I love subconscious mind work. I love work of Byron Katie, which brought to us the whole 4 questions and the work, right? It is incredible to examine your thought. This is where people get lost a lot of time, is they don't question the thoughts that first they kind of like hover above your mind. And if you give focus on a thought and if you allow that thought to be there, it will build a nest in your mind. So the very first practice is to take whatever is troubling you, put it on paper, question its validity, asking yourself, what am I getting out of keeping this block alive, right? We always, there's always a benefit, right? That doesn't make any logical sense. A lot of times the block that we perceive as a block within, it's a sort of it's a reflection. Any kind of block is a reflection of a conflict in belief systems that we got to identify. And the way you identify is you simply ask yourself, what am I getting out of this by choosing to be stuck? because on the quantum level, this was a quantum visioning conversation. On the quantum level, as a cosmic self, you create every single experience of your life, including your perceived blocks and limitations and obstacles. So by being able to zoom out and asking yourself, what I'm getting out of this? What I'm really getting out of this? Ah, okay. So good, right? So good. All right, I'm going to take a look at your questions here, maybe. So, yeah, fear masks desire. Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for joining. And I just wanted to take a moment to appreciate your presence. This was so fun for me to deliver. I love events like this. They create big brand awareness. I'm able to meet and reach the souls that I was not able to connect with before this event. So it's really powerful to hold the space with you and to inspire you to really see your life on a quantum level from your cosmic self. And then to develop the skills, the personal brand, the leadership skills that are required to become a match to that quantum self, right? That's what we're doing here. And if I can be of service to you in 2023, just please reach out. As I was sharing before, we have a mastermind that is enrolling right now. I also, on a monthly basis, I host my private VIP day and immersion day where you come to my house. And we'll take a look at the inner blocks, the subconscious mind conflict, right? And we will expand your vision and then create a plan for that vision to become real. So those are my signature experiences you can apply on my website. And I have a variety of incredible self-study programs that I recommend if you are working towards your business mastery. You definitely want to check out my Business Brilliance bundle. In that, I offer my framework on how to enroll and close any client that you want to work with, or magnetize and enroll on board intelligently high-profile clients, and how to build your sovereignty branches, right? This is a sovereign coach, and all these crucial business skills that are required. What truly sets apart visionaries who are able to successfully actualize their vision is their inner resolve. Like, they're completely unstoppable. Like, you can't knock them down easily because they're connected to their true vision. And they don't mind what happens. They're able to flow with the direction of life. And then they're also willing to pick up and develop any physical skill, whether it's business or expression or running a team, right? Guiding a team, whatever skill that is required for them to actualize their vision, they gladly and happily roll their sleeves and begin this journey of developing a skill. And it takes about 7 years to develop a skill to mastery, about 7 years. So the process of bringing our life vision to the world requires that long-term commitment that you are here on the path of mastery. And that's why I'm here for. I love the journey. I love the journey. And when you love the journey, it becomes such a joy to walk it. Thank you, everyone. I think an hour is perfect. And may you have a beautiful, nourishing holiday season. And on this note, again, please reach out. We are private message. if you'd like to explore deeper ways I can support you and your business and your leadership. And until then, be blessed. May you thrive in a very quantum way. And I'm so grateful for your presence.